Welcome back to another good old episode of Free Good, Free Bad. Now in today's episode, I'm in the Abarth 595 competition only. Yes, it isn't a Fiat 500, it's an Abarth, and secondly, it's a 595. And it's got loads of little tricks up its sleeve that makes it a really fun hot hatch. And more surprisingly, it might wake the neighbours up. Let's take it on a good old spin round Free Good, Free Bad. So obviously the first place that I've got to talk about is performance, because that's what this car is designed to deliver. Now, it's got a 1.4 litre petrol turbocharged engine. That doesn't sound like a great deal, neither does 180 brake horsepower. But for something that weighs the same as a shopping trolley, it is actually really punchy, and it revs in any gear. It likes to pick up, it's fruity, it's spicy, and then at the same time, the ride, well, yeah, okay, it's been stiffened up a lot. You're almost riding on the floor, but it gives you that go-karting feel, and that's what I expected. And then there's the brakes, aftermarket Brembo brakes, and they're going to rip your face off. So it really, really can deliver on the track. I mean, it's almost like a track-ready go-kart. And then there's the exhaust on this car. Now, this is where I was most surprised. Honestly, I've driven many hot hatches, and a lot of them I've had to describe like a baby farting, because it's just a little, you know, they can put two exhausts at the back, but they don't really do anything other than a bit of show. This bad boy has quad tail Monza exhaust, and it really, really likes to sing. And if you don't trust me on that, you should see the massive smile on my face that I've had all week. And here is a little montage of my trip earlier. Now, yeah, it might be the most antisocial thing possible, but it really, really brings out the little child inside you. The only caveat to it all, though, is that you can't turn it down. So like most modern exhaust systems, you can close the valves and be a little bit more social to your neighbours, and yeah, that doesn't do this. So be prepared to wake your neighbours up and have a few dirties. So my final really good point about this car is some of the little touches that they've done on the interior. Now, there are some little things that annoy me, but I'll come on to them later. But the main thing is these bucket seats. They're a little bit tight, but they're aftermarket bucket seats. They're covered in Alcantara, and they really add to the occasion. The same goes to the steering wheel. Again, Alcantara, also carbon fibre. And you've got Alcantara on the dashboard, and you've got a nice big turbo boost bar, which makes you feel like you're in some sort of youth's trainer. But there are some little caveats as well, which I'll come on to later on. So you can probably imagine where this first bad point's going, because any car that's based on, say, the Fiat 500 is going to have issues with practicality. You can hardly get anyone in the back, pretty much just a midget or two children with no legs. I struggle to get a child seat in the back of there, and even if you get them in there, getting them out is even more of a problem. The boot is absolutely tiny, but there is a boot. And generally as a whole, it isn't the most practical for going on longer journeys. Saying that, though, there are other practical benefits to this car. For example, when you get to a parking space, you don't have to look for parent and child, because it's small enough to fit into a normal space and still have plenty of room. Finding a parking space in a village is a lot easier, and then if you have to convince the wife that this is the perfect weekend car, it'll fit in your garage without having to take everything out. So it's brilliant. Now, we all like to know how much things cost, and well, yeah, the Abarth 595 Competizione costs £23,000. and that's with these optional extras on board, and that is a lot of money given the size of the thing. But that's what happens when you start throwing on aftermarket parts. And yeah, you could theoretically buy a standard 595, up the power and put in a load of aftermarket parts yourself and probably save a little bit of money. But probably the best way of doing it is waiting on those resale values when you get second-hand ones and picking one up on the cheap. And some of these cars, because they're so limited in quantity, might actually be worth something in the near future. Now, despite all those little nice touches to the interior, there are some things that really get on my nerves. In the cabin, despite the fact it's £23,000, we've still got hard scratchy patches all over the dash. And then, to top it all off, someone decided to leave 500 written directly across the dashboard. It isn't even a Fiat 500, it's an Abarth 595. Stop confusing everybody. And then that scratchy hard plastic is still all over, say, the door sills. And I started looking, thinking, what a pointless door sill. It's got it's got a door pocket, but you can't reach it because of the seat. So you might as well not have it. Get rid of it, leave it bare metal, make the car lighter and make it cheaper. Stop doing this sort of thing. It's so annoying. Now I have to admit that this car has been a big mix of emotions, because at one side, honestly, it sets the world alight, puts a big smile on your face, it gets you in love with driving. And then when you take it to work, for example, it drew a bit of a crowd. You know, people came outside and wanted to know what car it was and what was fitted to it. It really did make sense. But then on the flip side, there's that many niggles that as an everyday commuter, you just couldn't recommend one. And it's for that particular point that I think in my head that, well, actually, if you had it as, say, a weekend car, like you would with a two-seater Roadster, that would actually make more sense. You could park it in the garage as well, with ease. Don't have to take anything out, chuck it in, get it out of the weekends, and you can have an absolute blast on a B road. It's only when you think about the price that it then starts becoming an issue again. Now, that's all I've got time for, but if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button below, ding on the bell, that'll tell you next time I'm going to post a video. Hit the subscribe button, more importantly, if you haven't done already. In the description, there is a link to the website to this particular review, which will give you the full details on our thoughts, and I shall see you guys next time on a good old episode of Free Good, Free Bad.